So my name is Phil Pesheck, and I was connected to the Patriot Ride through the Minnesota Patriot Guard. My wife and I joined the Patriot Guard back in 2006, kind of right at the height of the Iraq War. And I also at the same time, I was a police sergeant for a police agency in the metro Minneapolis area. And through the Patriot Guard, Bob and Tammy heard that I had been working as the Patriot Guard police liaison, law enforcement liaison for, let's say that we had a mission to two harbors, and we were going to run 500 motorcycles from Minneapolis all the way up to two harbors for a funeral for a soldier. I would contact all the agencies between point A and point B and make sure they knew we were coming and ask for their support to get us to the communities. And initially, it was, they didn't know who we were. They had never heard of us. But after about maybe the second or third mission, our reputation started, traveling around the state. State Patrol knew about us, and they were saying, anything you guys need, we're in for it. So Bob and Tammy heard that, and they said, they approached myself, Jeff and Deb Good, and said, we would love to have you guys on our planning committee for the Patriot Ride. So we didn't have to even think about it. It was an automatic yes. Let's get going. So for the first, I retired from law enforcement in Minneapolis area in 2011. So I was on for the first, what would that be, 5 or 6 Patriot Rides. And during that time, those Patriot Rides grew from 200 or 300 for the first one to several thousand. And you know what it's been like the past few years. My wife and I came back from Wyoming, where we live now, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and we did the ride, and we were just blown away at the size of it and the execution and the organization and the community support. It brought tears to our eyes.
Yeah, it's really cool how big it's gotten. So can you think of in those 5
years? I tell people that out here I tell people that out here in Wyoming and South Dakota where I work at Black Hills State University in Spearfish, and they look at me like, no way. Right. But I show them photographs, and the video that Bob puts together every year, and they are just blown away. So yeah. I didn't mean to interrupt. Sorry.
No, that's fine. That's great. So in the years that you've ridden in it and been a part of it and helped in so many ways, is there 1, 2, maybe 3 or more favorite moments or favorite memories that you have from the ride?
The coolest thing that I and my wife both recognize and remember is the level of support for the Minnesota military families. When we driving that route for the Patriot Ride, community members would come out with their lawn chairs and their picnic tables and their American flags. It was amazing seeing the flags, the little kids saluting as we went by. It was just heartwarming to see that. It's absolutely amazing. So that, and just how the ride grew from year to year. It proves to us that there is still an American spirit for patriotism out there, and sometimes we lose focus of that, especially in these times right now. It's probably not in. I bet there isn't. You interviewed people on the sidewalk in the streets. If you asked, when was the last time you said patriotism, I bet most of them would say, I don't even remember when that was. But if they want a dose of, to see patriotism in action and alive and well, that was the event. Very overwhelming. Very, very cool.
So as we kind of embark on one last mission here to raise funds for these great organizations in Minnesota, what would you say to encourage people to participate this year? Although it will look a little different, what would be your words of motivation and encouragement to participate and donate and help raise funds one last time here this year?
For those who are thinking of participating and maybe raising some funds for this year's and the final the swan song of the Patriot Ride, I've spent time with the military families that the proceeds and that have touched lives in the past. It's amazing. I mean, these families are they have, whether it's a husband and wife or husband or wife that is deployed, or sometimes it's both, and their young children are living with grandma and grandpa for a year or two, and you see that what you can do to help those military families by just a few dollar contribution is absolutely amazing. They deserve it, they need it, and they absolutely respect it and are very, very grateful.
Yeah, thank you. So those are the only questions I have for you, but if there's anything you'd like to add or anything else you'd like to say about the ride, about the organizers, please feel free to share anything else you'd like to add before we stop recording.
I'll do that. So, life always throws different curves and different intersections to a person. And by meeting Bob and Tammy and Jeff and Deb Good and Doug Bly and some of the other organizers for that ride, we have made lifelong friends. We stay in touch with them. When I retired from law enforcement 8 years ago, my wife and I moved to Wyoming, and we still maintain contact with them. During rally times, they come out. Actually, Bob Bean has helped support a similar ride at Black Hills State University. It's much smaller in scope because we don't draw the population like we do from the Minneapolis area. But it's a ride for military veterans who are students at Black Hills State University, and he has touched lives all across this continent. So my hat's off to him. He is a true American patriot. Thank you.